Hey folks, here is the Leupold Mark IV HAMR, which is a combat optic. Also makes an excellent hunting optic. A lot of hunters are hunting with ARs these days and makes a great optic for that. 4x24mm. It's the same magnification as an ACOG. The delta point on here is 3.5 MOA, and it uses the Mark IV uses the CMR to the second. Not sure how they say that. Reticle right here. It's an excellent reticle. I really like it. The optic itself is made out of 6061 T6 aircraft quality aluminum. It comes with or without the delta point. I like the delta point option on it. I think for me, and I'm going to outline this as predominantly a hunter with a marine background. I've never used optics in combat. We had iron sights, so it's kind of hard for me. You know, I can't give you combat user experience on combat optics, but I can give you experience as a hunter. And I personally like the delta point option. I have had in the past hunting with a standard 3-9 by 40 hunting scope. I've had deer pop up really close out of brush, and having a delta point on it would have been awesome if I had that option at the time. I know there are hunters that have used these for bear hunting, where the delta point has come in useful. I think it's a great option. So I would recommend the delta point to take full advantage of the optic. But even without the delta point on it, this HAMR is an excellent optic. First thing I noticed when I was looking at one in the store is how clear the glass is on it. Has superb clarity. I didn't see any distortion around the edges of the glass. And I tell you, it took about 2 seconds, literally 2 seconds, looking through this optic in the store, and I was contacting Leupold about getting one of these for me to look at. And man, I've been very happy with it. Let's give you some of the nomenclature on here. Here is the diopter ring. It's adjustable for focus, and then it's got the lock right here, so once you get it focused you can lock it out so it won't move at all. The ocular lens, objective lens. This here is the elevation, windage. This is the illumination control. What I really like about this illumination control, it gives you 7 levels, but between each level is an off. So if you want it on the brightest and you need that, you know, if you're going to need it quickly, you turn it to the off that's closest to the 7, and when you turn it on, it's right there in your 7. I think that's a really cool feature and very well thought out. I really like that. The reticle on here is etched, so even with it off, you can still use it on the Mark IV. On the delta point, it has to be on. The delta point has no on and off, it's motion activated. The Mark IV has after an hour, it'll automatically shut off. And then when you move it, it'll come back on. It does come with a mount for Picatinny rail. You can't mount it with typical hunting brackets or scope mounts. It has to be with this, which is no different than the ACOG. Here it has a shroud, protective shroud for the delta point. It's very tough. Mark IV has extended twilight lens system, which makes it great in low light conditions. As far as the collecting light. It has the lenses on the exterior, it has a diamond coat so they are abrasion resistant. And it has what Leupold says on their website is a generous eye box. One of the things I really like about the HAMR is the eye relief on it. It has almost a 3-inch eye relief, 2.71 to be exact, as compared to the ACOG has 1.5-inch eye relief. So I really like the generous eye relief. I think when you're moving around and doing fast acquisitions and stuff like that of targets, I think it's the almost 3 inches of eye relief is awesome. The illumination on this, it does run off battery, and the Delta Point runs off a separate battery. And there are, to me, pros and cons to that. It's one thing I guess I love about the ACOG is the fiber optics on it, so that you will always have a battery or you always have power no matter what. But the con to that is that on the ACOG it's not adjustable. And that's something I really like about the HAMR, is that the illumination is adjustable, which is great for different lighting conditions. And I'm sure, if you follow combat optics and stuff like that, you've more than likely heard stories of Marines and soldiers being inside of a dark building but getting reticle washout when they look into a very bright area, which happens quite a bit in the desert. So they get washout. With this, that's something you're not going to have because it is adjustable. So that's something I really like. So like I said, there are pros and cons to having battery operated. Now, in my experience, battery is typically not an issue because the battery life on most of these optics is so long, it's just not an issue. I know like on the EOTech aim points, those batteries last better than a year. So as long as you swap them out after a year, you're good to go. Now, I could not find anywhere on the Leupold website of the battery life on the Mark IV HAMR. So I can't really comment on that. I don't know. The MSRP on this with the Delta Point is $1,500, $1,549 to be exact. That's the MSRP on our website. Without the Delta Point, it's $1,299. And just a couple of things to kind of compare. The objective aperture on the HAMR is 24 millimeters. On the ACOG, it's 32 millimeters. So it's a little bit bigger on the ACOG. The red dot sight, this here has the Delta Point. The Trigicon has the RMR. The weight on this is a little bit smaller, or excuse me, a little bit lighter. It's 12.9 ounces as compared to 14.96 on the ACOG, and the length is 5.5 as compared to 5.8. So this is a little bit smaller. I think as far as getting back to the price point on this, it's very similar to the ACOG. Perhaps, depending, the ACOG has a wide range of models, so depending on which model you choose, some of them go up to $1,700, some even a little bit more than that. But when you factor in the price of the RMR with the ACOG, it's pretty comparable. This could be even slightly cheaper, but it's generally around the same price point. Now, some of the features on this, I'd mentioned before, the extended twilight lens system. A lot of optics manufacturers, according to Leupold, they focus on the 550 nanometer spectrum, which is the green wavelength, which is good for daylight. However, in the evening, green light disappears and blue-violet light takes over, and the extended twilight lens system from Leupold focuses on the blue-violet light, which allows you to see better in twilight conditions. On Leupold's website, they mention eye box. Eye box is the area behind the scope that when you put your eye back there, it allows you to get a good, proper sight picture. With the generous eye relief, the 3-inch eye relief, and the eye box, it allows you to get your eye fast. Like if you raise your rifle get your eye alignment on your target. It allows you to pick that up a lot faster. I have, as I said before, become a huge fan of this scope. I think the Mark IV HAMR is an excellent scope for my purposes, which is hunting. I think it's an excellent dual use scope. I think for, you know, and I can't, it seems to be a rugged scope. I have not put it through any kind of shock test. I've read online of guys shooting, using it to shoot 50 Beowulf cartridges. I cannot attest to its combat use because I have not used it in combat personally. I have read and seen pictures of it on the rifles of Marine Corps Air Wing personnel, but that's all I've seen. I don't know what its issue status is, if actual fighting combat forces, ground forces have used it. I do not know that. But for me, for hunting, this would be an excellent optic. The ACOG is the gold standard for this type of optic. I really haven't seen any other companies do that. The Aimpoint, I have not seen that they have a 4 times magnification scope, and same with EOTech. So the ACOG is the only other scope like this that I have personally used besides the Leupold. And I'm going to be honest, I love the ACOG. This is right up there with the ACOG. And that's a big compliment. Like I said, because I am such a huge Trijicon fan. So this optic here is definitely something you should look at. If you're looking for something that is battery powered, has a great eye relief, a 3-inch eye relief, this is an excellent option. So I would definitely urge you to check it out. It is the Leupold Mark IV HAMR with Delta Point. If you have any questions, let me know. Semper Fi.